Good morning and welcome to Leadership Tip Tuesday with Coach Ellis. Hey, look, I know it's been a little bit since we've been with you, so we've taken a break and we're back at it. And before we had our break back in October, November, we were dealing with the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. And we covered 4 or 5 of them, but we're going to go back and start all over again so we can get this complete set of Leadership Tip Tuesdays done. So we're just going to go back and start at the beginning. The first law of leadership, well, one of the reasons John Maxwell wrote this book is that he deduced that there were 21 universal rules, universal lessons on leadership that applies to just about every leadership construct, whether it's religious, business, military, family, nonprofits. It applies to just about everybody. So with these 21 laws of leadership, the thing that comes to mind is that if we learn them and we can apply even one of them, possibly 2 of them, but if we're real good, maybe 4 or 5 of them. We probably won't apply all 21 immediately, but whatever we apply, it will increase our ability to lead ourselves and others. So the first law that John Maxwell talks about is the law of the lid. Essentially what this says is that in order for you to be the best leader you can be individually, you must consistently improve yourself. And part of what John Maxwell also says is that the organization will only get as strong as the leader. As the leader builds his or her capacity to lead, the organization rises to that level. Now, I have a fundamental disagreement with the second part, but I think the first part is essential. It's that we must continue to improve, whether we are in a leadership position or not. We all have the potential to lead or have to lead. And the idea is that whether I am at the top of the food chain or the bottom, I'm at the 12 o'clock position or the 6 o'clock position, for 360 degrees around the clock, I can lead. Now, one of the things that the law of the lid talks about is that in order for me to be the best I can be, I must continue to improve my education, my experience, and my training in leadership. So we must read. And one of the things I would tell every leader is that I had a colonel, Colonel Skidmore used to tell us that if you read, then you are ahead of 70% of the people you're going to come in contact with. So leaders are readers. And the law of the lid simply reminds us that if we read, and do you know if you read 10 books on a subject in a year, that you're considered an expert? If you read 10 books on a subject, you're an expert. You spend 10,000 hours, but not 10,000 hours reading, but here's what 10,000 hours mean. Essentially is you spend an exorbitant amount of time grasping information and putting into practice what you've learned. Now, 10,000 hours is a long time. And we're not talking about spending 10 years trying to master things. What makes you an expert is if you know one more thing than the last guy. What makes you an expert? What makes you an industry leader? If you know a few more things than everybody else, or you know a few more things differently than everyone else. The law of the lid says simply, you must continue to improve. So learn something, learn it differently, learn something new, challenge the status quo, and you will grow as a leader individually. For your organizations, this is important because your organization, according to John Maxwell, only gets to rise to the level of the leader. The leader is comfortable with growth, the organization will grow. The leader becomes stagnant, the organization becomes stagnant. And I understand that. I had a pastor once tell me that if you are running, the people will walk. If you walk, the people will stop. If you stop, the people will sit. If you sit, the people will lay down. If you lay down, the people will sleep. And if you sleep, the people will die. The leader must always be one step ahead. Now, that works good for leadership constructs, but as a leadership coach, I have to believe it goes even deeper than that. The law of the lid applies to me as an individual. For an organization, the organization must be better than me. It must be bigger than me. I believe that the collective experience of the people who work there even if I have 50, 60 years experience, the collective experience of everybody who works here will more than likely outweigh me. It'll be a longer time. They have different experiences and different education levels, and if they're closer to the work, they have a different perspective. Now, so the law of the lid works great for individuals, but for organizations, we must pop that lid off. We want the organization to be bigger than us. In fact, if we're sharing the organization with those who are working with us, then it can get as big as we make it, not as big as I make it. So I want you to think about the law of the lid today when you are in your leadership capacity. Read, become more educated, go get some more training, go gain some experience. If you're at a place you've been at a while, go someplace that you are unsure about. Go to a place where it's going to challenge you. You're not going to be the best at it. You're not going to be great at it. You might not even be mediocre at it. Go there and learn how to be good or better at it. And this experience will give you the ability to see things from multiple perspectives, and thus be able to make better decisions down the line. The law of the lid is a very important law of leadership. You must personally increase your lid, and as a leader of an organization, you must pop the lid off in order that the organization becomes great. Hey, if you got questions or comments, leave them down here below. Go ahead and visit us on our website at www.elliscrum.net. Catch us on Facebook at Coach Ellis Crum. You can catch us at Twitter. You can catch us on Instagram at Coach Ellis. And last but not least, leave us some comments here. We'll make sure we get back to you. If you need help in your leadership growth, go ahead and contact us. Fill out a form. Send us an email. We would love to have a transformational conversation with you about how to be a better leader. Not a better boss, not a better manager, but a better leader. So until next time, have a one-tabulous leadership, blow the lid off it, Tip Tuesday. God bless you, and we will see you next week.